Hi guys. I'm going to be highlighting some of the differences between DACA and the DREAM Act in this short little 5-minute video. So what I want to get down to is that about every year approximately 65,000 undocumented students graduate from the US high schools. So without passage of the Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act, or the DREAM Act for short, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals (DACA) program comes as a welcome temporary relief for deportation for roughly 1.8 million immigrant youth who might be eligible for this program. So I want to start off by saying what DACA is. I know it stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. So the DACA program allows for certain eligible undocumented youth to request deferred action and temporary relief from deportation. The DREAM Act, on the other hand, is a legislative proposal that would provide a pathway for citizenship for undocumented youth who have lived in the country continuously prior to the bill's enactment. So, one of the key differences between the DREAM Act and DACA are the requirements, application processes, and the benefits from each program. For, the, for DACA, the requirements are that the undocumented and unauthorized immigrant youth has to be under the age of 31 as of June 15th, 2012, entered the United States before their 16th birthday, resided in the U.S. at least 5 years prior to June 15th, 2012, and be physically present currently in school and have graduated or obtained a high school diploma or GED. Furthermore, under the DACA program, these undocumented youth and those eligible for the program have to have no criminal background. And the application process requires that someone submit to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services a completed I-821D form, an I-765 form, an I-765WS form with supporting documents, biometrics, and it has a $465 fee and have 2 passport photos. And then the benefits of the DACA program, you have a social security number, work authorization, a 2-year stay from removal, and access to driver's license. So perhaps this isn't a known fact, but many undocumented immigrant youth in the country are not allowed to get a driver's license and in our increasingly interconnected not only world but country, driver's license is pretty key to getting around from either school to your job to getting groceries to just basically living, especially if you don't live in a large city with an excellent transportation network. So the DREAM Act, on the other hand, is a whole different idea. So I'm just going to flesh out a little bit of the requirements with the DREAM Act. Those eligible or potentially eligible for this DREAM Act must have been under the age of 35 as of the bill's enactment, have continuously resided in the U.S. for at least 5 years prior to the bill's enactment, and been physically present. The requirements, aside from those, are fairly similar to the DACA program. Perhaps it's more accurate to say that the DACA program's requirements are similar to the DREAM Act, since the DACA program, enacted as an executive order by President Obama, came after any attempt to get into a DREAM Act. There is no application process for the DREAM Act because it's never been passed. It's not law yet, or who knows if it will ever be law. But one of the benefits for this potential program would have been that it gives a permanent pathway to citizenship via conditional permanent residency. And so other key differences between DACA and the DREAM Act is that DACA is a kind of administrative relief from the executive branch of the United States. It is temporary and it does not provide a path to legal permanent residence status or U.S. citizenship. And furthermore, deferred action will only be given on a case-by-case basis. The DREAM Act, on the other hand, had it been enacted, or if it is ever enacted, would permit certain immigrant students who have been growing up in the United States to apply for temporary legal status and to eventually obtain permanent legal status and then become eligible for citizenship if they go to college or serve in the U.S. military. And then another key difference between these two programs is how long they last. For DACA, those who submit a request to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services and demonstrate that they meet the threshold guidelines may have removal action in their case deferred for a period of 2 years. Remember that it's 2 years, so it has to be continuously retaken every 2 years. So it is subject for renewal if it is not terminated between that 2 year time span. And again, it's a case by case basis. It's not an overarching sweep that includes all undocumented youth under their category. The DREAM Act, on the other hand, these qualifying children would have to have 6 years of conditional permanent resident status to complete at least 2 years of college or military service. And only after meeting those requirements would they be granted full permanent residence, so given a green card for short, and then afterwards, after a period of time, they could apply for citizenship process. So since the DREAM Act was never enacted, the DACA program was then instituted by President Obama as a form of relief for these undocumented youth in the United States. I had the pleasure of speaking with one of my friends who is an undocumented youth in the country, and I won't say his name in order to keep him safe. He's requested me not to say his name, but he has given me a bit of a testimonial of what he feels about DACA right now. He is with the program, and how he feels about the future of the program amidst our current political environment. These are his words, and I'm reading them off from what he gave me. He said, "I was asked to write this days ago, and I mindlessly agreed to it. I said it would have it back the next morning. I mean, how hard is it to write a couple of paragraphs about how I feel? And yet I found myself looking at a blank screen for hours trying to figure out how I felt about DACA. How do I feel about being able to work for a living? How do I feel about having my very existence recognized by the country where I have spent a majority of my life? How do I feel about being able to obtain a higher education? How do I feel knowing that I could soon have all of that taken away from me? Growing up, it felt like I was a member of a different society altogether, where being a second-class citizen was so ingrained into everything that I did that it just felt normal to fear speaking with a police officer, to avoid going anywhere where I knew where they'd ask for an ID. I was essentially invisible. It wasn't until the beginning of my college career that I had my existence acknowledged and validated through the DACA program. Given the prospect of a new administration that seems to be appalled by my presence in this country, I feel fear. Now, this isn't your standard fear of heights or a fear of spiders. This is a very real fear of being wiped out once again, of being erased from the eyes of my country and plunging into a state of obscurity and insecurity. My relationship with Lady Liberty has been a complicated one. I'm still not sure if she loves me back, but I'm going to keep trying." So those are a few words about how DACA has affected someone who actually has gone through it. And to give a little bit of more background about my friend, he's doing very well. He wasn't able to go to college the normal way, especially since he couldn't pay for it, since he couldn't get any federal aid. But through this program, he was able to get employment, he was able to get a car, he was able to get a license to drive that car, and now he's in a path of going into a master's program, all because of this program, DACA. And I think it's instrumental to helping this country and helping those individuals who truly want to be members of this country and not truly want to be members, but already are members of this country. I hope this little short video has shown you the differences between the DREAM Act and the DACA program, so if anyone ever asks you about them in the future, you can tell them the differences between them. Thanks for staying so long. My name's Abram Fernandez, and this was just a little bit of knowledge for the day. Thank you.